Hello everyone, thank you so much for watching my channel and tuning in to my very first YouTube video. Just a little bit about me. My name is Justin Webb. I'm a realtor. I have a beautiful wife named Tara. We've been married for 6 years now. I have a 3-year-old and a 3-month-old named Kaylee and Miles. They are two of the cutest kids you're ever gonna meet in your whole life. I know I'm a little bit biased, but it's true. I believe that one of the reasons why we're on this earth is to be happy. All of us deserve happiness, and all of us need to find happiness while we're here. One of the things I want to do on this channel is to just share information with people about being happier, about being more successful, and like I said, ultimately just being a better person a little bit at a time. And I love sitting down with people. I love talking to people, making their day a little bit better, helping them through issues. And so one of the things I thought, well, instead of doing that just person to person, why don't I just do a YouTube channel? This way I can motivate, inspire, and impact as many people as I possibly can. Another reason I wanted to do this channel is for more accountability. Almost 2 years ago, I had my lung collapse on me. It was a very scary experience. I thought I was having a heart attack. I remember driving to the Instacare and I just kept praying that I wasn't gonna die, and I kept thinking about my family and thinking that I'm too young to have a heart attack. I had so many emotions going through my head. Got to the Instacare, they thought I was having a heart attack just like I did, and the ambulance came to get me. They thought I was having a heart attack. Everyone was running EKGs. And I finally get to the hospital, they run more EKGs, and they find out after taking an x-ray of my lung that it was a collapsed lung. I don't know whether I'd rather have heart issues or lung issues, but either way, that's what I have, is lung problems. And there's no point in dwelling on it, there's no point in feeling sorry for myself, and there's no point in letting it affect my life as I have. For the last almost 2 years now, I've been using that collapsed lung as a crutch, and I don't want to do that anymore. And I want to share the steps that I've been going through to overcome some of the issues that I'm having with that collapsed lung, and hopefully people can apply those into their own lives. If I start sharing what I'm doing to live a better, happier, and healthier life, and a more productive life after one of the health issues I went through, I'm gonna look like a big idiot if I don't follow through. So I'm gonna be accountable to you guys, and we're gonna see the changes that are gonna come. After 5 days in the hospital, I think it was 5 days, my wife would have to remind me, I was drugged up most of the time, but after 5 days in the hospital, they weren't sure why it wasn't healing. They sent me on my way and I ended up seeing a specialist. Obviously that was really hard to go through, but I always try to look at the silver lining of everything and try and be positive. So the good thing was, it happened right when football season started. And so I got to spend the whole entire football season sitting in bed, trying to recover, and watching as much football as humanly possible. Now, it wasn't worth the collapsed lung, but at least it made it a little bit better, because that was the year my Eagles won the Super Bowl. Some of the issues that I have now is I have COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It's no fun to have. Luckily, I'm in the first stage of it and not the highest stage of it. In this first stage, some of the things I suffer with is I'm fatigued all the time. I'm constantly tired because I'm not getting enough oxygen that I need. My lung usually always hurts. It's actually pretty tight all the time, but a lot of the times if I overwork it or just different things out of the blue can kind of trigger that. I have damaged lung sacs in there, and sometimes it just starts to hurt. It feels like, especially when I overwork it, it feels like it's on fire and then it's gonna explode. And then there's the part of obviously not breathing that well. I have little attacks all the time where I just can't breathe, and I have to do a lot of breathing exercises to try and regain that oxygen, which is no fun at all. Without getting into too much detail on what sets them off or how bad they get sometimes, that's what I deal with, and that's what I go through on a daily basis, is having to learn how to handle that and starting to correct that in my life. But one of the symptoms that bugs me the most, it's definitely not the worst symptom, but it drives me crazy, is my body really doesn't regulate its temperature that good anymore, which is really weird, but I've talked to other people with lung issues and they've kind of experienced the same thing. So I am constantly sweating all of the time. Even when it's cold, I can start to sweat, and so that is super annoying. And then also I can get out of breath. Going back to the breath issue, I get out of breath so easily. At first it was just getting up and getting out of bed. I would be out of breath for sometimes the next couple hours. Going up and down the stairs, walking around. It's not as bad anymore. It's getting better and better every day with what I'm doing to work on it. Even now, just talking to the camera, I can get out of breath just talking too much and talking on the phone for my job. So when you see, the cutting happening, a lot of times it's me stumbling on my words, wanting to say things a little bit differently so I can edit it out, and other times that's just me having to stop and just fill my lungs as much as I possibly can with oxygen, so I'm not out of breath anymore. So I tell my specialist, hey, I have a lot of pain in my lung. Sometimes it feels like it's on fire. It keeps me awake at night because it hurts so bad a lot of the time. Of course, he says that he can prescribe a pain medication for me. Then I tell him, well, I also have a hard time breathing. It gets hard to breathe. It's getting in the way of my regular life and my job and my family, and I definitely need to correct that. So he says we can give you a breathing treatment. We can give you an inhaler with steroids that you inhale and it helps open up those airways a little bit, and that's what we can do to fix that. Also, I have a little bit of anxiety at night. It's not so bad anymore. I'm getting over it, but when my lung first collapsed, for probably almost a whole year, that anxiety was really bad. Bad enough that I very rarely slept at night at all. It was a traumatic experience to have my lung collapse, thinking you're gonna die, and it was a little scary when it kept happening in the hospital. And so I just thought that my lung was gonna collapse at any moment. What happens at night is when I'm not having all the stimulus around me, that's when I start to feel all the weird feelings in my lung. That's when I'm starting to feel the pain. That's when it gets really hard to breathe. And I kept thinking, here we go, this is it, my lung's gonna collapse again. And so I don't know how many nights over the first year that I would actually grab my keys, I would put on shorts and a t-shirt, and I would wait next to the door, holding the keys in my hand, ready to tell my wife to take me back to the hospital. I had anxiety over it. I told my doctor about it, and he said, well, we can give you some medication for that to help that anxiety not be there. So what I started to realize is that I was just masking all of my symptoms. I'm just masking all of my issues with these things, and I didn't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to actually get down to the root cause of why I'm having these issues and start from there. I love doctors. I am so very grateful for everything they do. Without them, I might not even be alive. Having a collapsed lung is fatal, and so I'm happy that they discovered that it was a collapsed lung at the time, and so I didn't have any more negative effects from it. So I'm so grateful for what they do, and kudos to all the doctors out there. But I believe that we need to use a little bit of Western medicine and a little bit of Eastern medicine and put those together and really fix the problems instead of masking the problems. So many people suffer with physical pains, physical illnesses, physical struggles. Also, a lot of people have mental struggles and issues as well, and there's spiritual issues that we need to overcome. Not one person that lives on this earth throughout their life is going to be free from those things. We all have hard times, we all have trials that we go through. At some point in our lives, we're gonna come across hard things for us to deal with. But as we deal with them, we're gonna grow as an individual as well. Take those three kinds of issues and three kinds of problems that we can have, and that's what I wanna do on this channel now. For the next couple months, I wanna really be focusing in and honing on what I've been doing with my lung to help heal itself, to help live a better and a more normal life. It's not where I want it to be, but again, it's just better and better every week, as long as I just stick to it and I work hard. The three things I'm sharing can be applied to any of those issues: physical, emotional, and spiritual. I am not a psychologist, although I did start to go to school to become one. I decided it's just not for me because, again, I just wanted to help people so much, and so that's what I thought was the obvious step in my life, but that ended up not being the route that I took. Not a fitness instructor, and I'm not a life coach. I don't have any of those degrees. I don't have any of those certificates. But what I do have is a lot of knowledge. And what I do have is personal experience. And I believe that what I'm going to be sharing with you when it comes to nutrition, breathing exercises, meditation, positive affirmations, mindset training, goal setting, all of those things can be applied and tweaked a little bit for anyone's specific circumstances and help them fix the issue. And I know mental illness is a really big one, and I don't want to sound like I'm taking it lightly, because I know that's so hard to overcome. That's why a lot of people do turn to things that just mask the issue instead of fixing it, because it's a lot of hard work. And it's very hard, and I don't blame anybody for deciding that it's too hard to fix naturally. But I do know that it's possible to overcome those things. And so I'm hoping that a lot of people can start to follow what I'm sharing, that you can ask questions, we can work together, we can see people succeed, hear those stories of how people have grown, how people have progressed with their issues, and start to build some momentum and just see how people's lives can change and how hard people are working, and that yes, it absolutely 100% is possible. 4 months ago, I was working with a life coach and some other real estate agents in my office. Things were going great. We were working on a lot of stuff, and I was growing, I was progressing, I was happier, I was healthier, I had less pain that I had to deal with, I was sleeping better. That's another big issue that I have, is sleep. And I think a lot of people are starting to have those sleep issues. My relationships were better, I was making more money. Things were going so good in my life because I was learning and I was practicing the things that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. What happened is, a couple months after we stopped meeting together, those things that I was doing just went right down the drain. And it was so easy for me to go right back to how I was living. It was easy for me to wake up in the morning and say, well, I'm not going to do this today because I wasn't able to sleep last night because I didn't breathe all night and I had a really hard time. Or it was easy for me to say, you know, I'm going to skip out on that zoo trip with my family. This situation has happened a lot of times. I'm going to skip out on that zoo trip because my lung hurts and it feels like it's going to explode. So I'm just not going to do it today. Because I stopped what I was supposed to be doing, and that pain, that hard time breathing, and those other symptoms came up, and I decided I don't want to use my COPD as a crutch anymore. And I tell that to people, and they say, well, the C in COPD stands for chronic, which means you're always going to have it. But I don't buy that one little bit. And my family means so much to me. After my lung collapsed on me, my wife had to go back to work. Instead of being at home with Kaylee, who is just so fun to be around and brings so much light and joy into your life, she could have been at home with her while I'm out working, but instead she's working her tail off. She's doing everything she can to help pay the bills and help make the money that I wasn't, because I was stuck at home in bed. And not once did she complain, not once did she say any negative or rude comments about it. She just did it with love and support, and I need to give back to my wife. I need to be 100% for my family and giving them the best version of myself. I will be better for my family, give them what they really deserve, and that's all of me and not part of me. I hope that you guys can share this video with other people that need it. And hint, hint, everybody can use what I'm talking about. Again, everybody deals with these issues. Obviously, we know what I mean when I say physical and mental issues, but there's also spiritual issues. Have you lost touch with yourself, with a higher being, maybe your friends and loved ones around you? Do you need to get in contact with Mother Nature, maybe have better energy coming in and out of your body? That's the things that are spiritual, and this can help with that as well. I really want to hear success stories. I want to see people progress through this, and I want to help people become happier and, again, a better version of themselves. That's what this is all about, is to be the best you possible. So thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon.